See a quiet ride in the country turn into a nightmare of horror. Get ready for a meal you will never forget. Break bread with the living dead. Feel your flesh pull away when they scream for food. See, don't open the window. Whatever's out there will wait.
Rated R, at the very least. And welcome back to the third segment of this weekend's Drive-In Asylum double feature. And yes, next weekend's feature, what's going to be a late movie at 11 p.m. Saturday night, and it's going to be Don't Open the Window.
AKA.
Right. I like to call it Don't Open the Window because that's my favorite title, even though it's the stupidest one out of all of them.
I kind of like Breakfast at Manchester Morgue.
Oh, yeah. That's a good
Did you
one.
notice that TV spot that I just showed? It must have been for when Hallmark originally released it as Breakfast at Manchester Morgue, because the guy says in the commercial, break bread with the living dead. Get ready for the most terrifying meal of your life. So that must have been what they were going to call it, right?
Right.
Anyway.
That's the British title, I think.
They did show it in the States under that title for like one weekend somewhere in New England. And there's some ads floating around. I think it played New York under that title too, very first time. But they dropped it quick for Don't Open the Window.
So we all made it through Bloody Moon, and I love that movie even more after watching it this time. The music is great. I love the music in it. I love the disco. I love the killings. I love the fake bodies. I love how stupid everybody is. But before Becca fell asleep, she said, does nobody lock their doors at this school? No. What do they learn at this school? Nothing. It's wonderful.
Mike already has the comment of the evening. Makes Pieces look like Friday the 13th Part 2. I think that's pretty accurate.
I just learned that Pieces stole most of in the American cut, most of the music came from Satan's Wife, which I did not know. Stelvio Soprati did the music for that movie too. And they just took that music and said, this will work for this Exorcist ripoff.
Why not, right?
Right. And you know what? Sometimes effects can be shoddy. I don't care. I mean, I love Don't Torture a Duckling, and it has one of the worst ending effects probably in any genre, but it doesn't take away from how much I love the movie. So that's why I love this. It's and the other thing I really dig about this movie is stuff that you don't expect to happen. And certainly they're not going to kill a kid, and they're like, yeah, fuck it, we don't care.
They went there.
Yeah. And most importantly, the killer at the end, he has something sticking out of his neck, and he's got a lot of energy. He's he comes back. They hung that girl in the closet, something fierce too.
Everyone's a killer in this movie too. There isn't just one killer.
No.
And even the fake Klaus Kinski with the messed up face is a killer at least once.
Poopy head.
Everybody's killed somebody, and then there's two murderers at the end conspiring. And she didn't play her hand correctly. I mean, she turned on that guy a little too early. And if she was smart enough to pull all that off, she was smart enough to know you don't piss off the person that just killed 4 people for you.
Yeah. Those we talked about during the movie. Those styrofoam rocks cost more than the last 10 Jess Franco movies. The budget of those movies. Those styrofoam rocks were expensive. I also like that she comes down. The girl comes down to the boats and she says, "You seen an attractive girl?" And they're like, I don't know.
With long hair.
With long hair.
Long blonde hair.
Yeah.
And where you find them at? You find them at the disco club, right?
Disco club.
The budget for this movie for mailbox letters was out of control.
Yeah, mailbox lettering.
Mailbox lettering was out of control.
Her head rolled down the street like a blonde wig on a wig stand.
I like that she opens up the bed at that one point and there's just a head laying in the bed. It was very Godfather-esque.
Why did nobody believe her that her friend was stabbed?
Because they're like, this school and these kids. There was another school where a girl could control bugs and all sorts of stuff went wrong at that school too. And then there was this dance school. Don't go to school in Europe. That's what I've learned.
Well, I think we got some good reactions.
Yeah. I think no one can disagree. No matter how bad it was fun. And I think that's what it's about. Yeah, and the blood really squirts out of that head. I think he's right. Like when that head gets cut off the bandsaw, it's like there's a lot of blood in the body.
I noticed that some gore was inserted from a video source in that print that we watched because when the fake Klaus Kinski gets the needle through the neck, there was this shot of him upside down with blood pouring out of his mouth that clearly was not the same quality as the footage that was in between. So that was kind of cool. We saw some excised gore shots in this print. Delicious, bloody.
The blood looks really
moon.
good in this movie too. It's not Italian blood. It's very like dark red, especially in that shower scene. There's some really wild blood in that scene, and bloody clothes, bloody moon. That club is way too close to the kids' school too, and they know it. They opened that disco club just so that there's a lot of stupid girls can come over here. And that other girl, there's murders, and that one girl's like, I got these 6 Modelo's, and I'm going to take these beers across the campus. Like, maybe stay in your dorm.
That was my first clue that the sister was nutty, is that she had such an attachment to these poisonous snakes. And she walked in there, she's like, where's Medusa? I have to know where Medusa is.
You know what she knows, Bill? You know what they say about girls whose names start with S?
The names of snakes.
Yeah. I would never go to a girls' school in Europe, but I don't think I'd ever be asked. So there you go. There you go. There's a lot. It's a very free school. There's morals are perhaps not there.
Optional.
Optional, yeah.
AC Nicholas, you're conspicuously silent on this.
I'm just taking it all in. You guys are killing it here.
Yeah, this is really, after this and Faceless, the quality of Jess Franco's productions really hits the fan. But if you love him, and I do, and you're just like, you know what, I'm here for all of it, and I'll watch it. Sometimes I'll sit and as I'm watching his later movies, especially like the last 3 or 4, I'm like, there is no plot. There's just women like standing, like dancing in front of cameras, and I don't get any of this. But it feels like an obligation at some point that I have to watch all of his movies.
This is a beautifully shot film.
This one looks really great, and there's some really nice little stuff in it. Like I said, it looks like a Film Mirage movie a lot, like the colors and the look of it. And I think Sean might have said if you didn't tell somebody it was a Jess Franco movie, they probably wouldn't know it. If you said, "Oh, this is like a Raf Donati movie," I'm trying to think of a good Joe D'Amato name to use, you'd be like, "Yeah, that makes sense."
What did Tim Lucas, who wrote the big book on Jess Franco, say to understand Jess Franco? At a Jess Franco movie is you have to see them all.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had that book for a while. It's packed away somewhere, the big hardback that Lucas wrote. And I'll tell you, that's one that definitely not put on your coffee table.
Yeah.
Because you don't want people opening it up to pictures from Sadomania or this film or 99 Women or Greta the Mad Butcher.
Oh, Greta the Mad Butcher was the one I was going to pick. Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
I like that movie where it's like Diane Thorne's just like, I have wandered into the wrong movie. Like I was in Ilsa, you know what? I have somehow wandered into the wrong movie.
Yeah, but somehow Ilsa and Jess Franco should exist in the same universe and film.
Yeah, but they're outdone. Like Lena in that movie is like completely unhinged. Like she's just like, fuck.
I know.
I have to prove myself, and she does. That movie is wild. So
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, Franco's stuff is just it's something else.
Some of the actually, there's a couple later ones that are good. The Macumba Sexual that Severin put out during the sale this week is really good. Actually, I really dig that movie. Faceless, I really like too. Faceless is got a lot of really good gore in it too.
Yeah.
I actually haven't seen very many of Jess Franco's films, but I have seen. I watched this one like earlier this week, and so that was the first time. And I saw Jess Franco's Count Dracula all the time on TV, and also A Virgin Among the Living Dead is the one that I really like.
Which has some really cool. That's a very druggy movie too, where it's like it really feels like there's time has stood still in it. I recommend it too if you want to get into his movies. Like I said, Venus and Furs, and probably, Vampiros Lesbos would probably be the next one I'd pick, which is probably one of his other better made movies.
I think AC Nicholas would agree.
Yeah, I would agree. My three are the first two, like you said, Sam. Venus and Furs is the best Franco film. Vampiros Lesbos is great. Even the soundtrack is fantastic.
I had the soundtrack before the movie, yeah.
Yeah, Tarantino stole it. And my third favorite is She Killed in Ecstasy.
Yeah, that's really good too.
But I was going to ask you guys, I mean, how many different phases of Franco's career were there? I mean, there was that first phase where he did The Awful Dr. Orloff and The Diabolical Dr. Z, and then,
then there's kind of like a Eurospy.
Attack of the Robots, the Eddie Constantine spy stuff.
And there's like Red Lips and Kiss Me Monster, and those are kind of like female Eurospy kind of comedies. And then you can also tie in the Fu Manchu movies he did too, into that same kind of world. And the Fu Manchu movies are tied into the like Sumatra movies.
Yeah, well, then there's that like Harry Allen Towers period.
Yeah,
where he did the Girl from Rio and Million Eyes of Sumeru, and also The Bloody Judge.
Yeah, that's like 69 to maybe
69 to like 72, maybe. And then
there's a couple. Then he starts to get into the Saud movies there, and those are still pretty good too. And then there's like 99 Women, and he just kind of started making a lot of women in prison movies. And then the Eurocene kind of era where he kind of leaves France and makes those movies for them. And then there's these movies like Faceless and this movie. And then after that, it kind of starts to move into the almost strictly either like movies that he had to find his own producers on or shoot himself. And by the end, he's just shooting stuff on video.
Video stuff.
There's some too that I can't remember the guy's name. There's an American producer that did a few with him too. That's like where there's the one Spider movie that I talked about before, and there's a couple that actually have some American. Linnea Quigley's in one of them very briefly. And it's funny because it's like Linnea Quigley's in a Jess Franco movie and is not naked, which seems like something's wrong with the universe.
Yeah, how did that happen?
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Well, that was a wrong number for sure.
Yeah.
But then we also have to talk about the fact that Jess Franco worked with Orson Welles.
He sure did. Yeah, he shot the second unit for what movie? For Othello?
I think it was Othello.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was Chimes at Midnight.
Chimes at Midnight. That's the one that it definitely is. Yeah. And he's also very into jazz in his early movies too. And he actually played trumpet in a few of them and appears in them too. He'll show up every once in a while in his films too. Especially near the end, he kind of plays himself in a lot of them and is mostly screaming at people, which is pretty funny. But yeah, I think it's a very acquired taste, especially the later movies. But if you get into it, it's worth it. I've posted a lot of them on the site too. If anybody wants any records, yeah. And Sean Midas did some of the two Franco noir movies he posted on the site, and both Raffi and the City, and I can't remember the other one. Those are actually pretty decent movies too. I think when he has time and a budget and is invested in the movies they're great.
Yeah, even his black and white movies, the early black and white ones like Gritos en la Noche, which was the awful Dr. Orloff, that looks great. What is it? Baron von Klaus?
Yeah,
that's another one that
ones
nobody
are all
has
shot in
seen
that castle too, and like they have a really nice scenery for them, and those are pretty decent. If only I had a Letterboxd Jess Franco list that I had made of his movies with star ratings.
I was waiting for how long it would take you to get there.
If only I had that on my little magic box here.
You know, what did you direct? 194 movies or something?
Yeah, that we know of too, because it's always ones that were like, oh, we suddenly found one. I have 175 on my list, but then there's there's 40 or so missing because up until 6 months ago, Letterboxd wasn't putting pornography on. Now they are in like very limited for movies that are artistically important.
Right.
Right.
And how do we determine that?
If
like, I want to talk to that crew and be like,
yeah,
tell us your criteria.
So I really dig the Red Lips movies. Like they're like a series of these two female thieves that kind of get into hijinks. Like Kiss Me Monster is probably the best one. I really dig that movie a lot. Attack of the Robots is really good. Diabolical Dr. Z and Dr. Orloff's Monsters. Those are all very similar. Lucky the Inscrutable is pretty good. That's a kind of like Diabolic kind of ripoff, kind of comic book fun movie. Succubus is pretty good. 99 Women definitely is good. And Justine, he did two movies, Justine, but the one from '69 is really good. Eugenie is great from 1970, as is The Bloody Judge. Nightmares Come at Night's really good too. Severin put that out a while back. She Killed in Ecstasy, which was already brought up. And Daughter of Dracula is pretty great too. And Female Vampire. Again, these movies start to kind of blend because he really did remake the same 3 or 4 movies a couple times.
I should mention I also like Erotic Rites of Frankenstein.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah.
He's got a plastic skeleton in that one. I love it.
Barbed Wire Dolls is great because, and also, yeah, a great title.
A friend of mine was buying me a gift, and he was at one of the cons somewhere, and he asked the dealer, "What is the sickest movie you have? I'm going to buy it for my friend." And the guy reached under the counter and gave him Barbed Wire Dolls.
Blue Rita is pretty good too. That's one that Lena directed, and I really like that movie. They come at night, only at night. And Shining Sex that Severin put out this year is really good too. It's pretty wild. These aliens abduct Lena and make her sex organs kill men. So it's basically her hunting down men and having sex with them to death. And there's a lot of glitter in it.
Was she a bee girl?
Close. It's very similar, like a filthier version of that movie.
Filthier?
Yeah, well, can it be? Yes. Let me see. Getting near the end of his stuff here. The later years. Macumba Sexual. House of Lost Women from '83 is pretty good. Blanca, which is another Severn one that came out. That one's actually really good. It's almost like a him making a telenovela, which is pretty wild. And then pretty much after 88, 89, that's where you start getting into the other than the two Killer Barbies movies, which I really like. After that, it's very much buyer beware. I like them, but I will say that I would not recommend them to anybody because people will be like, Sam, come on, what are these movies?
Sam, did you notice my Cramps t-shirt?
I sure did. Other people have too, so that's pretty exciting.
I'll show you, since you weren't on the first segment.
Well, you're in the hamburger now.
Yes, and I'm in the hamburger. It's the creature from the Black Leather Lagoon.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
You want to talk
And
about...
I've got a T-shirt for the third segment too.
Oh my God. Move over because the thing's blocking it. Other way.
There we go.
There you go. It's Plaster Face.
I just have
Blossom.
I just have on the same Tenebrae shirt. I wear it probably every week.
You know, people talk about their time machine concert that they would go to. Mine would have to be in 1980 when the Cramps first played the UK. They did a short tour, and the opening act was Nightmares in Wax, who are Pete Burns' first band before Dead or Alive. Well, he would change their name eventually to Dead or Alive, but they were originally known as Nightmare in Wax.
Wow.
And Nightmares in Wax. So I would have loved to have seen that tour.
I was going to say something. I can't remember. Kind of brain dead. Maybe this zombie wasn't a good idea at 1:30 in the morning, but whatever. Right?
I derailed you with my talk about the Cramps and Nightmares in Wax.
No, please do. Trailer Trap. Tourist Trap. I watched the Rondo
Trailer
and Bob.
Trash or
Yeah.
Tourist Trap.
There's a documentary, the Rondo and Bob documentary that came out this weekend. If you're interested at all in Bob Burns or Rondo Hatton, I would definitely recommend tracking it down and watching it. It's pretty decent. And yes, the Deep Throat pinball machine does make a long appearance in the movie. So that's what I was excited about.
I got to watch it. I remember when you guys showed Mongrel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fun.
They only show a really brief amount of Mongrel, which made me sad because I love that movie and I wanted to actually hear them talk about it a bit, and they didn't. So I'm glad we showed that because that's a really wild movie. So, yeah. Hey, Bill, you want to see what came in the mail this week?
I would love to see what came in the mail.
It's a stack. I mean, how will I ever get through these? How will I go on? All right. So we got The Sacred Spirit from Arrow, which if you guys haven't seen it, is a wild movie. It's a Spanish movie about UFOs and conspiracies and Egyptology, and it's real weird. And they actually put all the director's shorts also on it. I think it doesn't come out till August. It's on the Arrow streaming app. Real excited about this. This is Richard Elfman's movie, which I didn't even know existed. Richard Elfman made Forbidden Zone, Aliens, Clowns, and Geeks. And that is just out from NVD. It's going to be out in a little bit. And Darren's right, Deep Throat is in theaters. They keep sending me emails about it. There's a 4K of Deep Throat in theaters. Hearts and Souls, these are from Mill Creek. This is one of Becca's favorite movies. And I love this Mill Creek packaging, which makes me convinced that the tape is falling out of the packaging every time I look at it. But,
I thought it was too.
yeah, it's nice packaging. They also did movie Leatherheads and The American. A Martin Short double set of Pure Luck and Cross My Heart. And King Ralph, which is kind of cool movie. And then Assault on Precinct 13, not the original, but the remake. And I've been writing about these all week. The 90s set just got done, and Mill Creek has a deal with Columbia to put out movies. And this has all the movies of the 2000s, and the Hitcher remake is on it, and which I've not seen, and Cry Wolf, which I have seen and I do like. So those are pretty cool. And then this is the 2010 one, and it has Contraband, not the Fulci movie. The movie that I tried to order the Fulci one back in the day, and they kept sending me the movie Contraband. So but this has a lot, like 10 movies. MacGruber's on it. The remake of The Thing, which I have not seen either. And so I'm excited about that. And Your Highness, which I have not seen. So these Mill Creek sets are really nice. They've been putting out some actually. They kind of went from back in the day you would buy a Mill Creek set and you would just get a ton of different movies, like in public domain usually and not the best quality. They've kind of done themselves and done that. And then there's a ton of new Shudder movies will be on the site this week. And by the way, if you like Lifetime movies, and who doesn't, there's a lot of Tubi originals that are on there, and they're really good because they kind of take the Lifetime idea of those movies, which Lifetime movies are just giallos with. I always said they're like giallos with less sex. Well, the Tubi ones are like, you know what? Let's put all the sex in it. So there's a movie, Romeo and Juliet Killers, which is based on a true story of a 14-year-old girl whose 19-year-old boyfriend killed her mom, and they change it so that they're of age in this new one. But wow, they really went for it. There's a lot of stabbing and a lovemaking scene on top of the mom's dead body. I was like, what? It kind of surprised me. So yeah, Tubi bringing it.
Edgy.
Yeah, so pretty cool. But anyway, that's the new stuff that's come in. So excited about that. And you know what? I agree. See, Sean mentioned that Guitar Wolf and Wild Zero, that'd be great to show too. And there's some Umberto Lenzi giallo on Shudder, and they're all great. All the movies he did with Carol Baker are magnificent movies. I love every single one of them. And if you're into getting more movies in that same world, the Libido came out in the Severance sale this week, the Ernesto Gastaldi movie. And yeah, I spent the extra money to get the side one. I was like, when am I going to get this? Right. And I keep thinking the Carol Baker box set's only $45. And I'm like, if I drink one more of these, I'm definitely getting it.
Those Carol Baker movies are so good. I mean, shout out. She's from Johnstown, Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah.
Of all places.
I love her. So, Darren, I saw you put this before. My wrestling character is I used to be a mental patient when I was young. And somehow I went from being a mental patient to being like a cult leader kind of. And now I'm kind of like, I guess I'm like a horror movie bad guy. My old team was called the Grindhouse, and it was like all different people that we had like a voodoo guy, and we had like Beastman, who's like a kind of like a Leatherface kind of character, one of Bill's favorites.
Beastman, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, and he's like literally like a giant caveman. And then we had like an evil girl who was like kind of like the Strangers kind of girl, and the director who's Derek Dillinger, who like does a gimmick. He's from Cleveland, does a gimmick where he's a movie director, and we were all the Grindhouse. And now my new team is we're just kind of like Troy Lords is my other partner, and we kind of are kind of like horror movie villains, and we show up and we beat people up. So yeah, and I wear corpse paint, like blackout eyes and black lipstick, and I look like I try to kind of like House of a Thousand Corpses, I guess, but I change it all the time. Sometimes I do like Blade Runner or Conan makeup, but yeah, that's what I do. Got hit right in the face with a chair twice tonight, so it was pretty fun. It makes a really big noise inside your head when it happens. Like, I can't describe it. It's my favorite sound in the world. It sounds like when an apple starts back up, but imagine that sound happening like dead center of your head. I also have a really thick skull. So
what's it feel like?
It doesn't feel like anything. It feels there's like a flash. The worst thing I ever got hit with was one of those old 90s computer scanners that had the glass in them that weighed a lot, and that gave me a concussion, and that really hurt, and that felt like just getting shot in the face. Like, it felt like really like the worst pain. I got a graphite hockey stick broken over my head in a fight once too, in a match, and
holy shit!
And like, yeah, that really hurt too. It really, really hurt there's a lot of blood too. Yeah, I had a guy hit me in where was it? Piqua, Ohio, which is near Columbus, with a kendo stick in the back of the head, and I lost my legs once, and I couldn't stand up. And he kept giving me moves, and I kept bouncing off my head, and I was getting madder and madder because I couldn't move my arms or my legs because whatever happened, he hit me, and I was like, and I knew, like, because it's happened before, like, I knew that I'd get my shit back together, right, like in a couple minutes, and I just kept thinking, like, as soon as I get my shit back together, I'm gonna fucking kill this guy. So as soon as I did, I just got the kendo stick and I hit like every move I knew, really quick. Because I asked him back before the match, I'm like, well, what kind of stuff are we gonna do? He's like, I just like to hit people, and I'm like, great, this is gonna suck. Yeah. So sometimes people are fun to work with. Sometimes people are assholes. This guy's name was something like Ice Dagger or something. It was like Mortal Kombat shit. Like, okay, like, all right. Every time I went to this place, Piqua, it was a mess. Like, it was always bad. Like, something bad always happened in this building. This one time, a fan jumped me, and this happens in Ohio, maybe more in West Virginia, definitely way more. But like, we were on the floor beating somebody up, and the fan grabbed me and started punching me in the back of the head, and I didn't know anything of who this fan was. So of course, your natural instinct is to throw an elbow, and try to stop this person from hitting you. I didn't know that the kid was mentally challenged, and I knocked him out with the first shot, and the entire crowd like wanted to kill me because like this kid was like real beloved in this town, and I knocked him out, and I was like, oh fuck, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, I'm glad you got the hell out of there.
No, I finished the match, and then there was like cops and stuff. It was bad. Yeah, the best trick you
Sounds
can
like
do
the
is
plot of a Ty West movie.
It really was. Like, there's times where you're in these towns, and like it literally, like, I'm an idiot, and like I have a tendency to want to really get into real fights, and I'll egg people on to the point of that it happens, and without thinking that I have to get out of this town, I have to get to a car. I have to, you know what I mean? And like, I kind of like romanticize this era of wrestling where, wrestling, like fans would try to kill you after the shows. And I had somebody try to hit me with a car once. That was probably the worst I ever got. They tried to hit me with a van, and they missed me by about 2 feet. And I wanted to piss my pants, right? Because it's pretty scary. But there's like a bunch of fans outside, so I have to stay in character. And that was fun. Yeah, I love it. It's still, I'm old now. Like, this is my first match post-COVID, so I was a little winded after. But plus also it was 9,000 fucking degrees in there with no air conditioning in a gym. And really, I should film part of the show from the basement, Bill, of where we run, because it looks like Dr. Tar's horror dungeon down there. It's really bad. It's pretty rough.
Second time we mentioned that on the show tonight.
I know, right? I'm trying to get, if we do it 3 times, we get a prize from the director.
So the big Severance sale this weekend.
Yeah.
Did anybody get anything? AC Nicholas, did you?
No, I did not.
I only got libido is all I got, because my wife was punching over my shoulder. She was like,
for your Carol Baker fetish, right?
Yeah, I know. She was, because I was thinking, like there's a couple that I haven't gotten. Like, what's her name? The Land of Yik Yak. I really want that movie. And I know when it comes with the cover, because it has, what's her name, wearing like body armor and it looks way too filthy to come into this house. So it's one of those ones I'm like, come on, guys. It's like every time Mondo Macabre sends a package, I'm always in fear of my life, because they sent like a whole bunch of Emmanuel movies once to review. And I didn't get the mail first. My wife's like, what are these movies? I'm like, well, Manual in America is really not that dirty. It's the fucking dirtiest movie ever. It's the worst. So, I'm 50. That's how it works.
I didn't get anything on that sale. I didn't buy
Emmanuel
anything.
in America. Yeah, I've mentioned that a couple of times in the chat, and in 2 articles from now, Bill, it's called Emmanuel in America and Other Weird Tales of a Trash Film Lover. And I tell my story about buying the DVD copy of that. It is the
movie that inspired Videodrome. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That should tell you how rough it is. That and Emmanuel and the Cannibals are both pretty rough.
And he got prosecuted. D'Amato got prosecuted for it.
Oh, Joe. Yeah, there's a lot of there's some really cool stuff. I will say the other All About Evil that's in the Severance sale is a really good one too. I got that the screener that sent, so it's really good. Matt, I don't know them, and I think not. I don't know. There's 2 different Beyond Darknesses. The one's Evil Dead 5. I'm not sure which one Sean got. There's Beyond the Darkness, which is Blue Omega, and then Beyond Darkness is the Claudio Fragasso movie, which I dig. Yeah, La Casa 5. Thanks, Sean. And I didn't buy anything in the Vinegar Syndrome sale nor the partner sale, and I really was feeling like. But I know that I think we talked about last week. There's a bunch of stuff Vinegar Syndrome has waiting. And I know it's all going to come out at Christmas time, and it's going to be bad. It's all going to come out the same day. Like, they're going to be like, hey, well, here's all that stuff you wanted. Like, here's Footprints on the Moon, which is in their next, what do you call it, Forgotten Jawa set. that's definitely in there. And I'm like, oh man.
I didn't get anything at the Severance sale because I started filling my card up with stuff, and I looked at it all and I was like, I don't know. I'm when am I going to sit down and watch all this stuff? I already have a huge stack of movies to get through that I bought with, the last couple sales that I dug in on. So I sat this one out. I was like, I'm just going to wait. And I promised myself I wouldn't start buying all these Blu-ray restorations unless it was something I really wanted to add to my collection. Because I don't want to end up with shelves and shelves. I know that's cool and everything, but me, I like to economize. So otherwise, I feel stressed out. I know, but I look at the shelves and I feel stressed.
Oh, I know.
Because
I'm
like,
I feel joy when I look at them shelves. They say it's like a big hug.
It doesn't make me happy. It makes me feel stressed out.
It makes me feel love.
And I'm like, oh my God, I have to watch all these movies. So,
did we say about the next movie we're doing, Bill? We didn't, or not the movie that you and I are doing commentary on. We didn't. Did we talk about that?
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we're doing another movie. I'll give a hint, which we're really not allowed, but if you looked at any of the movies that were on my site last week, it's one of the movies that was on the site last week. That's my hint.
That's not really giving anything away.
No, because there's like 900 movies on there, but it's boy, this next one is holy fucking shit. It made me laugh so hard at one point that I had to stop watching it. It was in the midst of my COVID, but I literally couldn't breathe. There's a plot development in this movie that involves, I can't say what it is. It'll give
yeah,
it away.
You're going too far.
Holy shit, it's so good. And by the way, don't forget, you can, not to be salesy, but you can pre-order Suburban Sasquatch for August, and
yes,
it's real good. Or you can watch it on
I know what it is, but I'll hold my peace.
Yeah.
I figured it out.
Yeah. It's on Tubi. If you want to watch Suburban Sasquatch, you can check it out beforehand before you hear our commentary. But, man, and all his movies, all David Wascavich's movies are on there. And let me tell you, Bill, he does some serious ones, too. He did this movie, Tartarus. That's not the movie we're doing. It's about alien abduction. And it's like, if you thought, like, it's kind of like Fire in the Sky, but even more fucked up. It's like a $4,000 budget Fire in the Sky that is really upsetting in the best ways. And I was like, wow, I can't believe how good this is. So I really dug it. But again, just like the Franco movies, like you have to realize, like, it's a $4,000 budget. Don't expect the greatest thing. You know what I mean? Every time. But and Vince brought up the Dollar Tree stuff. I keep on Dollar Tree, and I have not found anything new that I like yet. And I've seen other people grabbing stuff, and I know that a lot of Kino stuff showing up at Dollar Generals, and I still haven't found any of that stuff either. That's all I need, right?
Lee, next week is Don't Open the Window, a.k.a. Let Sleeping Corpses Lie, Breakfast at Manchester Morgue, The Living Dead at Manchester Morgue. I know I'm missing a couple, but it's that zombie movie.
You're all the same, the lot of you. That's
one of the best zombie movies ever made. Yeah. I might.
It's really
absolutely.
Good. I love that movie, and it's also one of the best like anti-cop movies ever made. It is like literally hippies against cops. Is really the subtext of it.
Yeah. So it's going to be a single feature next weekend. So it'll just be a late movie at 11 p.m.
Yeah. This week on the site, if you're coming to my site, BNS About Movies, is all spaghetti westerns, and I'll have an interview every day with Austin Trunick, who wrote the Canon Film Guide. Both of them. The second one's out this week, and it's like 1,100 pages, and it's nuts. There's so much stuff in it. He's also doing a third one, which is all the unmade movies of Canon, and there's a Canon movie in there that I wish was made called The Golem, which J. Lee Thompson was going to direct, and it was going to be a claymation golem against Charles Bronson inside a New York brownstone. This golem was killing people in different apartments and going from toilet to toilet to kill people, and Bronson stops him, as Bronson would say, at the end of Death Wish.
But it didn't happen.
Didn't happen, nor did Pinocchio in Space, which Toby Hooper was going to direct with Lee Marvin as Geppetto. Holy shit. Or the Michael Winter directed Spider-Man, which I can't even imagine what that movie was going to be like. Pretty exciting. But he has a ton of stories in it, and I'm sure you guys have all heard of it. The guy who directed Barfly threatened to came into the Canon offices with a hacksaw, an electric hacksaw and injected his fingers with Novocaine, and told him if they didn't let him make the movie, he was going to cut his fingers off in front of the entire office. So that's one of the many stories. There's a ton of Tobe Hooper stories in the new book too. He said they get pretty wild. There's a lot of interviews because Chainsaw 2 is one of the movies in the new book, and he interviewed almost everybody that's in it. And of course, one of the things that comes up, which you can only imagine, is it was shot in June during a heat wave in Texas, and they didn't learn anything from the first movie. And they said, you know what, let's just get a bunch of stuff from a slaughterhouse. And every single person on the set, except for Bill Moseley, got sick because they believed that, again, a second Tobe Hooper movie, this happened, that they got real skeletons again. Tobe Hooper learned nothing from Poltergeist and got real skeletons, and everyone thought that this movie was also cursed. And everybody but Bill Moseley got sick. So there's a lot of really wild interviews in it. So super excited for that book. And there's a ton of info in this interview. And Austin's going to be doing the show, I think, in July, right, Bill? I think that's when we're planning on it. And we're going to show probably 2 canon movies. And if you want somebody that knows trivia about movies, holy shit, he makes me look like a neophyte. Like, I talked to him, and it's mind-blowing how much knowledge he has of canon stuff. And we talked a lot about my favorite canon tall tale is that when they hired Jean-Claude Van Damme, he supposedly was a waiter. He had already been in 3 canon movies. Like, I love canons like pro wrestling where it's a lot of bullshit. And Minham Golan always told the story that he ordered turtle soup. What restaurant in Los Angeles would have turtle soup? Okay. But he ordered turtle soup in this restaurant, and the waiter was Van Damme, and he brought it out and kicked over his head and handed him the soup without spilling it. And he goes, "You're going to be in Bloodsport." That story is total bullshit, but that story is also in the book. He did answer the question I always had is, why didn't canon make more horror movies? Because especially, Golan and Globus bought the company in '79, so you would think '81 they made X-Ray, and they made Hospital Massacre, and Schizoid, right, Bill? That's the one with Maria Hill, and that's really, and they brought back out Silent Night, Bloody Night, under a totally different non-Christmas title. So those are really 3 of the few horror movies that they put out. And he just said that, the shelves were full at video stores of horror, and Canon realized action was a little more their bag, so that's what they did. So lots of really wild stories, especially about why did they fail? Why did they spend all their money on a pirate ship? Why did they spend like $80 million on a pirate ship? Because they thought they were going to get to make the 2 Jakes. That's why they bought a pirate ship. It's a long story, but yeah, it's pretty wild. So, and yet Canon's amazing because, some of the greatest directors ever worked for Canon. Robert Altman's Pret-a-Porter was going to be a Canon movie at one point. And Cassavetes made Love Streams and was going to make another movie for Canon, but just never ended up doing it. He actually had a blast working there. And again, Bill, I bring it up every week, but Tough Guys got made by Canon. And, oh, man, I wish that movie was streaming because I'd love to show that movie because it's like Twin Peaks. It's like beyond Twin Peaks. It's one of the fucking weirdest movies I've ever seen. It gets real weird. Coming from me, that's nuts. But it has witches in it. It has gangsters. It has Penn Jillette in an orgy scene. It's got it all. It's real good. Yeah. So anyway, I'm real excited about the stuff on the site this week. And then next week's all Mexican horror. So if I ever get to it, I'm feeling I don't have much time left, so I'm trying to write about as many movies as I can.
Tomorrow night is going to be episode 3 of the Fright Lounge. That's a show that I do on Sunday nights, usually the first Sunday of every month, with Rigor, who guested on the show. He wrote a great piece in Drive-In Asylum about the Dr. Phibes films, and he has a podcast called Then Is Now. So you can catch that streaming on Facebook, just like this show, like the page. It's called Fright Lounge.
What are you talking about, Bill?
Tomorrow night's episode is going to be about horror books, and we're going to feature Harbison, who's the author of a new book called Comorbidities. So he's going to be on to talk about his book, and we're going to talk about, horror books that got us interested in the genre when we were young, probably. It's all nostalgia, just like this program. So,
I think I'm doing their show July 10th. I'm doing their show on Mexican horror too.
Yes.
So.
The one in July is going to be Mexican horror, and of course it will feature Sam Panico.
Yeah. Yamiya. As they say, call me now. I'm super excited to do that show, and then if anybody wants to write for the site, please do. Dustin Fallon wrote an awesome article that's coming out Wednesday. He did 10 Tubi picks, so you can see what 10 movies Dustin's watching on Tubi on Wednesday. If you got 10 Tubi picks, let me know. I have so many movies. You top out at 200 in your Tubi queue, so I have topped out, and I got to start watching them down. That's what I've been doing.
And that stack of movies that's right by your head.
Oh, that's like 30 more movies. But also, I'm doing the F This Movie website. I'm participating in their Junesploitation thing and this week. And there's a different theme every day. So I'm really excited about this week because it's really good because I like doing these kind of challenges because it forces you to watch genres or movies you would normally never see. Like car movies, I probably wouldn't watch that many car movies with cars in it, but I did it. And this week, Penitentiary 2, Ring of Darkness, which is Satan's Wife, JD's Revenge, which is an awesome blaxploitation movie, Ticks, Fulci's The Eroticist, Cannon's Sinbad, and Miami Golem. I don't know, have you guys ever seen that movie?
No.
Oh
No.
Man, it's an Italian movie made in Miami. I thought it was going to be about a golem, but it's about an alien baby in a lab that has mind control. And Becca said to me, "Is every woman naked in this movie?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "None of them have ever shaved before." And I said, "Yes." So it's on YouTube. So it's nowhere near as good. I thought it was going to be like Miami Tiger, good, which is a movie I talk about all the time. It's not nowhere near as good as that. And awesome that AC was on this week. Had a blast having you on.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad you did it.
I had a fantastic time, guys.
Excellent. We hope you'll come back at least to watch House of the Laughing Windows.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Either that or we were talking Mantis and Lace.
Oh, man, what a great pick. Yeah.
I'm going to put a plug in for Mantis and Lace, guys.
Yeah, that's good. We'll do that in Venus and Furs, and I'll get thrown out of the house.
Oh, wow. That'll be a psychedelic night for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So next weekend, it'll be a late show at 11 p.m. next Saturday night. Join us for Don't Open the Window, a.k.a. Let Sleeping Corpses Lie. And we'll be back for more insanity on the Drive-In Asylum double feature. Late movie next weekend.
11 o'clock Eastern.
Good night. Be safe. See you next week.
Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian. Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian.